There are unusual, quirky, and even seemingly strange things that men do, which women find attractive. The truth is that behaviors, actions, or mindsets that deviate from the norm appear unusual, perhaps even a bit odd, to many people, but not to everyone. Today, we're talking about things men do that don't match the mainstream, that are unconventional, and that many women find appealing. And at the end, there's a bonus point that probably applies to every one of you. And as always, I'm not talking about all women on this planet. We all have individual preferences, but these here create a certain attraction for quite a few ladies. Number 1, quirky brilliance. There are men who tend to immerse themselves incredibly deeply into technical projects with complex mechanics. Women are far less interested in technical gadgetry. They often don't have a knack for technical aspects. And there are quite a few men who have developed a quirky brilliance from this. Maybe he develops an app that not only activates the coffee machine at the push of a button, but also turns the sounds of the coffee machine into a rhythmic beat and automatically generates coffee poetry that appears on the screen. Or he proudly builds a machine that automatically sorts his socks. This deep immersion into complex mechanics is unusual for many. It requires deep expertise that not everyone possesses. People who dive into it are often considered peculiar, eccentric, even nerds. Unfortunately, nerd still has negative connotations. A shame. Men who can handle complex technical matters and understand them, no matter how quirky they may seem, radiate competence. And that, in turn, conveys a sense of safety and stability. Unconventional ways of thinking. Men who think far outside the norm and get excited about unconventional ideas and original approaches often appear attractive to women. Yes, people with completely unconventional thinking are often perceived as strange. Many things we aren't used to appear odd, but unusual can also be attractive. For women, one reason is that they feel intellectually challenged and stimulated. The ability to see things differently and think outside norms is not only exciting, it can lead to new perspectives. Another reason, it shows women that conventional thinking is not important to these men. They don't care what others think. They are authentic. They have the courage to follow their own thoughts, not those dictated by mainstream society. Men with unconventional thinking are often willing to take risks. And this willingness to explore new things is attractive, especially to women who want someone who pulls them out of routine. He might even encourage her to think beyond what's familiar. He becomes a bit of a challenge for her. Philosophical depth. People who immerse themselves deeply in philosophical questions and engage in such discussions are sometimes perceived as strange, when they disappear into their abstract world and barely notice the rest around them. I know men who are like this, and here's my personal observation. When they dive into philosophical depths in conversations, into their own worlds, explaining life from their metaphysical perspectives, they can be very stimulating for many women. Add glasses and gray temples. And whether this attraction is enough for a long-term relationship is another question. You still need fundamentally compatible values. The reason is, these men appear scholarly, and women like wise men, men who know things, who are well-read, who can explore and discuss complex ideas. This is not only mentally stimulating, it can create a deeper connection on an intellectual level. Another aspect. Many women feel drawn to the openness and honesty of a man who can reflect on deep topics. And if he can do that, we assume he can also reflect on himself when necessary. Obscure passions. Men who have strange or quirky hobbies are often perceived by women as interesting and attractive. Maybe he has a fascination with osteology, the study of bones. He collects real or replica skulls and stacks them in his home office. Yes, of course we wonder what's going on inside someone's mind when he's interested in such things. Or he dedicates himself to collecting retro computer games and consoles to build a unique collection of video game history. Or he has a passion for observing spiders and spends hours studying their behavior. What makes him attractive is the passion, his enthusiasm for the unusual. And in the case of bones, also the intellectual curiosity. It often requires deep knowledge. Women see an interest in topics like anatomy also as a sign of respect for knowledge. I phrased that beautifully, didn't I? Again, it's similar to the earlier point. He shows that he's interested in something beyond the surface, that he stands out from the masses. No matter what others think of his weird obsession. It's refreshing because it signals individuality and self-confidence, extreme sports or risky activities. Men tend to be passionate about extreme sports. Women do that too, but far less often. And while this isn't exactly quirky or strange, it is unusual because not everyone is willing to cross such boundaries or take on such challenges. Men who are deeply interested in extreme things like bungee jumping, BASE jumping, free climbing, these men appear attractive to women who avoid such risky activities. Because we women naturally tend to seek fewer adrenaline kicks. We admire them. We like watching from afar. But we don't necessarily want to try it ourselves, like me. Of course, not all women find extreme sports attractive. Some view the risks as off-putting or unnecessary. But for many women, it's the courage, the adventurous spirit, the fearlessness that is attractive. A man who is willing to push limits and take on challenges. That is masculine. That is sexy. A peculiar sense of humor. Another thing that often appears strange. An eccentric sense of humor. One that not everyone understands. But that hits exactly the right nerve for certain women. A mix of odd wordplay and deep sarcasm. His jokes may be so unusual that you sometimes don't know whether to laugh or cry. Maybe he offends people occasionally with his irony, which not everyone appreciates or finds too direct. But at the end of the day, he shakes things up. I know such men. And you simply like them, even if their humor sometimes misses the mark and someone in the room feels annoyed. And yes, better to try, make a joke, and sometimes fail, than say nothing and never try. Also, men are funnier than women. Sorry, ladies, but that's just true. A man with a very dry or sarcastic humor that not everyone understands attracts especially those women who appreciate irony. They feel understood or connected on a personal level. It's attractive because his unconventional humor requires a certain level of thinking to understand. And one more thing. These men often radiate self-confidence. The last point is not rare or quirky at all, but extremely masculine. And I include it because it contains qualities that highlight a man's attractiveness. The grill master. Men have this passionate devotion to grilling. It's his territory. He wears the apron like armor and the grill tongs like a sword. He has an aura as if he were the guardian of the sacred fire. The steak is flipped with the precision of a surgeon. The flames are summoned for the perfect temperature. Women tease their grill masters sometimes, but do you know what we actually see? We see this activity as a form of care and hospitality. Many women don't even realize that's how they perceive it. We find it attractive because it shows he is willing to invest time and energy to serve others and take care of their well-being. Women are very social beings, and grilling is a social activity. It promotes community and togetherness. Women secretly view it as the man's desire to bring people together, and whoever doesn't fire up the grill winter or summer, misses not only the delicious steak, but also the chance to prove himself as the master of culinary seduction. Enjoy your food.